Hi, this is Dr. Scott Young, and today we're going to get into this QFS account issue. It's so pervasive. I want to show you some of the insides of the stupid. I get asked this all the time, and it kind of came up. My parents were here, and they were kind of driving through, and so we were talking about different issues. And I have a cousin who actually follows me. I think she's on YouTube, but she might, I don't know if she is or not. So Kathy was saying, I follow you on Facebook and you're talking to me all the time. No, Kathy, I'm not. I have been on Facebook for 3 years. And I'm going to show you some of that stuff when we go through this with that. Okay, so let's pull it up on the scene here. Now I'm going to pull up this one here. Is in between decent information and not so decent information. Okay, so let me tell you a little bit about it. Like this one, this site here, and the dumb ones I'm not going to include into the descriptions here. Okay. As of now, no bank uses the system resembling the QFS. Of course, that's the case. Okay, quantum financial system is what we have here. Okay. Then it goes through and talks about the quantum finance system. Is it revolution or conspiracy theory? It says, do banks use the quantum system? So, and I'm moving a little bit over the side so I can read it on the screen a little bit better. Now, it's interesting talking about, then they start adding in the CBDCs, right? And so people get confused when they read this and they go, wait, the CBDC is the quantum financial system, or that's the mark of the beast, and they get so confused with this. When will it launch? There's no set time frame, of course. They're implementing AI models, employing blockchain, of course. Now that's correct with that too. Can I invest in the quantum financial system? Now here's where they go off and be stupid. Okay, first off, it's clearly not, it's not a clearly defined concept. Now, then it starts talking about ISO 200-22. That is just a global standard for basically, the ability to work within systems. Now, this is a very big, when ISO standards are what manufacturers and companies utilize to make sure that they're complying with overall international standards, okay? So then they kind of list these different, cryptos. Like, why would you list the cryptos? What are the benefits? And then it talks about some benefit issues. Bottom line, it tells you it's mostly discussing various conspiracy theories. While the QFS remains itself uncertain, the integration of the quantum technologies into the financial sectors presents notable advantages. Okay, another site. Now this one's a little bit better because it's I'm trying to remember where this fine bold here. This is a little bit better. It says some of the same basic points here. It talks about the characteristics, although it utilizes a couple interesting points: quantum encryption, distributed ledger technology. What that basically says in a blockchain, what it's going to do, and blockchain just basically says this: I can find all of the transactions. It's fully trackable. But distributed ledger says, hey, yeah, but we need to know how much the US note is worth in gold. So it's looking at the cash. So some people think the quantum financial system is the currency. It is not the currency. Just like any crypto will not be the currency. Let me say that again. Cryptos will not be the currency. You have to have an individualized sovereign thing for each country so that she can use her own QFS based upon the Iraqi dinar, the UK pound, on and on like that. Okay. So then it talks about some other things that are kind of funny here. It gives cons, and I'm just going to deal with the cons. Regulatory framework. Like someone hasn't really figured it out here. And there's cyber risks. Actually, cyber risks are so minimalized to nothing, they don't want you to know this. Now, the technology maturity, it hasn't really been out there for that long. Now, here's the cool things that they do talk about. The benefit is near instantaneous transfer with minimal fees. We're talking about 0.0006 or something, crazy number. It could be, I think it's 0.00006 something or other. That's how little utilizing the transfer of the cryptos. So a bank would use the cryptos for just the payment system. That's what that's what the cryptos actually do. Okay, so they can be a helper in this. We'll explain this a little bit more. So the quantum system is near. The QFS offers a promising glimpse into the financial future, and then it kind of gives all the other silliness based upon that. But that's one I'm going to add into here. But here's one that uses some of the same statements, but it's talking about token metrics. So this guy uses some of the same conversations. Then he adds this little weird area here, crypto research simplified. And then down here below, invest smarter in crypto with crypto analysis. Okay. When you click on these kinds of things, what you're going to get taken to is this kind of site. So it's password protected, right? Now, by the way, when you click on and you say how to put money in a QFS, my video comes up pretty quick. But look at this, how to create your QFS account. And it gives you all these different sites. Some of them are okay, some of them are not, with that too. Did you know the World Economic Forum, these are the sick cabal bankers. They want to actually invest or actually want to have a statement related to the QFS. They want to talk about it as well. So here's what they do. They jump in here and talk about the we're on the cusp of a quantum revolution. And they're predicted to be $19 billion by 2030. And $850 billion over the next 30 years. That's a bunch of bull. It's going to take the whole market over, and that's a great thing, the QFS. So here's funny points here. They try to insert some of their ideas. This principle calls for global approach centered on collaboration to avoid regulatory fragmentation in different markets. And so what it's saying is that, oh, that's what they do, but the CBDCs, we actually do it better. That's central bank digital currencies. It's never happening. We're not doing that kind of stuff. And so one of the things that keeps coming out for people is they ask, is it an account? And the answer is, I'm going to pull this off the screen for a little bit here. Is the QFS an account? No, it's never been an account. It's never supposed to be an account. It is a system through which we will utilize for every country. So we're just going to use the UK for just a minute, okay? So in the UK, they have the pound. What will they call it? Maybe the new pound? I don't know. I mean, they'll have some name that they want to do with this. It raises the value of that currency because it will be based upon, instead of a fiat that's based upon a bunch of nothing, it's based upon an asset. And let's just make up a term. Let's say, for the heck of it, that the UK will utilize silver. I'm just making up something. Don't quote me on this. I'm just saying, what if they were on silver? So they would be backed by an asset. Just like we're pretty darn sure that the Zimbabwe currency will actually be based upon diamonds. And people get argumentative with me, but that's actually what they find in that area. So that's a cool kind of thing. They have cobalt, which is part of the point of diamonds with this, okay? So let's just say in the UK, it's based on silver, just for the heck of it, right? Okay, so now it's based on silver, And the people would then access their money. So there has to be a physical element. The CBDCs, the central bank digital currencies, means there is no physical currency. Now, if you are a patriot of any level, you have disliked a digital type of currency already. Right now, today, 90% of all transactions happen digitally. If you pulled out your credit card or you take you're swiping your app or whatever, even if you write a check, that is a digital transfer. So we have to have banks to be able to transfer money through systems, right? Even if you use a credit card, what will happen is that if you were buying something from me and you would swipe in your card, we would put it into our system. At the end of the night, that transaction goes through. It doesn't finalize until the end of the day. So it transfers through to the credit card processing company. So my processing company. So then they extract fees from me. They don't extract them from you. They extract them from me, the seller. Then, and there's, I mean, if you tried to track the fees, there are a myriad of fees because it depends on if it's American Express, MasterCard, if it's a gold card, if it's a awards card from different ones. And so, I mean, the fees can be 3%, 5%, 1.2%. And then you have debit card fees that are pennies on the dollar with it too. And so you get all these range of fees. And then we just get a statement at the end of the month that this is how much they deducted. Or lots of companies are starting to do this, is that if you had $100 that you spent, or if we collect $100 in that day, then they would take out a concomitant amount of money based upon the credit card processing that is out there. Okay. And then it goes through the bank systems out to the different sources to be able to collect that money. So it's a collection, but it takes a long time for all that collection stuff to happen. It's a big process with that. And hence the points of the fees. So someone's making money and it's the banking people who are making money. I have to get shoved down my throat that particular fee. Okay. So what is the quantum financial system? The quantum financial system replaces the idiots with SWIFT. So for instance, when you look at a checkbook, you see on the left-hand side of the screen, so just want you to think this left-hand, or we'll use this side, see where it says Dr. Scott Young. That's the left-hand side of your screen, for instance, for you. And you see that first number. That first number is the routing number. The next number that would be, I'm trying to put my hand right in the right place, is right here, and that's your check number, 1203, whatever it is, whatever number you have. And the next number that goes behind that, sorry, using my hands here, is your account number. So you got the routing number, your check number, and your account number. Now this actually is the same thing that happens if you do an online payment to the gas company or the electric company or whatever you might do. So you have to put in, those two different source points. Now what they tell you is this. They say the routing number tells me the location of the bank. No, this is a clever lie. And I'll explain lies here in just a second, but it's a very clever lie because it actually is part of the truth. But the stupidity of it is that no other type of system of identifying a company, and more specifically, the person within the company or the accessor, you are the person who accesses your money or buys electricity or buys a stuffed animal toy, whatever, right? You're using your ability to buy something through the seller, right? And you have an account number actually attached to you almost always, not every single time, but most places use an account number. Now, if it's just a quick transaction, they don't do an account number maybe for you, but they can find out your ticket based upon, when you pull back, when you come back in and you had to return that thing, they would look up the ticket and then identify your particular transaction on a particular day, right? But most other places, let's say you buy things on Amazon, and Amazon actually tracks you based upon your sourcing. So you spent your money through Amazon, right? Okay. But let's break it down in a slightly different way. Let's say we are trying to identify a couple different places. UT is another way of saying University of Texas. But if I said UT Dallas, that actually signifies a particular area of UT, or CU Boulder, or Colorado University. Now, if you would say it out loud, it's funny because there was a retailer in the Denver area that decided to use a Chinese company, and they had a whole bunch of T-shirts with U of C. And everyone in the Denver area was laughing at them, and no one bought anything because no one thinks of it as USC. They know it as CU, right? So, even though you would say it, University of Colorado, but they would say CU. Now, there's CU Boulder, there's CU Denver, there's CU Colorado Springs. There's different campus types, right? They have their tentacles out there. But if you were, for instance, a student of CU Denver, so you do all of your courses online, you're going up and you're talking to someone and you're saying you're working on your student loan issue, right? And the student loan company, let's say you have a bank that's working with you through your FAFSA. Okay, this is all this real complicated stuff. And you would be saying, I go to CU Denver, right? Or whatever that might be. And so you stipulate that. Now, what they would do is that you would have an account number through CU Denver or CU Boulder, whatever that might be, right? Does that make sense? So when you hear this, you say, oh, okay, that's how I identify myself. I mean, if I said to you, and by the way, CU has a hospital. It's where I did my internship of audiology, right? And I remember, I remember going, I had to park like heck and gone and walk like all the way down, the way, and I always went and buy this one car that would go, the car alarm would go off. This is in the 90s, right? And so, I remember doing that. And there was a hospital. It was a really big centralized hospital with that. But if I said, I went to CU, or talking to an insurance company, they're not talking that you went to the university to go to school. You went to the CU, the CU hospital with that. And so now it's called Auraria campus or, Auraria Parkway or whatever. And so they have different ways of identifying. So you can say you went to CU, but you're talking about the hospital. Or Baylor, you're talking about the hospital. Does that make sense? And I know I'm taking a little bit effort in there. Now, that's how you identify the company and the account number for that particular company. But the banking people tell you a clever lie, that they don't just need the banking number, the account number. And by the way, all they really have to say is X bank in a particular town, right? So you say X bank. Like if I tell my physician I want to have them send out a medication, I'm not on any medications anymore, it's really good, but a medication to Walgreens, and they go, where? And they say, well, Walgreens at 81st and Yale, right? And so they can identify that particular place. This is how they tie things together. But the banking people tell you this clever lie. And the clever lie, and see, they believe it, don't get me wrong, but the Fed has told the lie for such a long time frame that almost everyone doesn't even remember it. And you go, how can people not remember a lie? Let me tell you just a little tiny story. I'm 18 years old. We had a 76 Granada. That sucker had been through so many accidents, I can't even explain, right? My dad, I was talking to my dad about it the other day, or yeah, yesterday when he was out here, and we were talking about it, we were joking about some different issues with that. But it had a transmission problem. Like if you would, you might be stuck in traffic. It's in drive, but it would like, you'd hear it go, "Urgh," and it would click out of its ability to transmit. So it's like it's in neutral, but you could hear it spinning up a little bit, and you might click the gas, and you're trying to like pop the brake, put it in reverse, put it in neutral, and pop it back down because the transmission was keep like locking out or knocking out with that too. So I'm turning left in a turn lane, and there are 4 other lanes going. So there's that middle lane. Now, so I'm there. Now, you normally, when you go into city traffic, and some people in smaller towns don't get this, you normally put your car pretty darn close up there because you got to have every quick advantage you can to get past traffic because there's always traffic coming on. Now, I had told myself this, that I was right on the edge. The transmission, when it would pop in, it would pop me forward normally a few feet, enough that you knew it was back into drive. And so I told myself that it popped forward enough, let's say it like this, and it popped myself out of traffic or into the traffic that's coming. And I shot through the traffic, and the last car hit me and spun me around, right? Okay, so I go to court, because obviously it's my fault anyway, and I tell them it was all the transmission, and they knocked my ticket down to a lower level, whatever. He knows that it was what it was, and the judge says to me, and I'm 18 years old, they say, you've got to get your transmission fixed. So the next 3 to 5 weeks, my dad and I are sitting our head back into transmission fluid, that red ugly fluid, and working through that transmission. Because I told this particular thing, I was worried about how my dad would respond to this. I'm 28 years old, 10 years later. I'm in a Bible study. And I don't lead the Bible study, but I'm just in this Bible study. And I remember it was in the Tulsa area. And something hit me about lie versus truth. I have no idea what they were talking about because I totally blanked it out after a while. And I break into tears, realizing it never happened that way. I was able to pop forward and still was not on the ongoing traffic. And I had lied to myself for 10 years and totally believed the lie every time I would say this. No one has a clue. I'm only like a year and a half into marriage. My wife is sitting there going, like there's something super wrong because guys like breaking into tears. It doesn't normally happen that way, right? And I don't do that in front of a whole bunch of people. And no one has a clue what's going on. And so they're all praying for me and, oh, he's got something going on. And they ask what it is, and I won't tell them because it's too personal at that point, right? And I came face to face with my lie and realized, and it was such a similar moment for me. I came face to face with my lie and realized I had lied to myself. Now, many of you have your own way of lying because you lie to get out of a dangerous situation or a situation that you built up in your life because your dad used to get mad at you, your mom used to get mad at you, your brother, whatever. Some authority figure or someone over you got you into trouble, and so it became a pattern of lies. We do this. We all do this in different ways. If you don't think you lie more than you lie. So I'm just telling you. And you believed the lie, and you've believed the lie for a long time. The world is about to come to the end of a whole load of lies. Now, sometimes some truthers and some patriots will push forward that everything is a lie, and that's just stupid, okay? in their right mind, they know not everything is a lie. Because if everything is a lie, then nothing is true. Then what you just said was a lie. Did you catch what I just said? If everything is a lie, then nothing is true. So if you say that everything is a lie, that is a lie. Stop. Okay. You know there are things that are truth. Okay. And one truth is, I get really pissy about this, is the Bible is true. Okay. Another conversation. But we've had this clever lie that the routing number is essential in the nature with this. So the quantum financial system, you think, well, it's going to use the routing number. And the answer is no. The routing number hooks in to what's called the Fed, or it's called the SWIFT, SWIFT, capital letters. Okay, there's a long story, and you have to worry about what it means. You can look it up online what that acronym means. But the SWIFT system connects everything. That's what the World Economic Forum wants you to believe. So we bring this back up on the screen for a second. And the World Economic Forum talks about this thing, but it uses, it starts to change the story just ever so, just calmly. Central banks, it uses all this other stuff. And the answer is central banks are not a good thing. But the World Economic Forum wants you to believe that we need to do this. And so they talk about quantum-enabled cybersecurity risks, and they tell you all the bad things that are in there, and yet they're the expert. So it's like they're saying it's good, but they're saying it's bad. It's just confusing with that too. Now, when we get to these kinds of idiots that are trying to sell you the QFS account, there is no QFS account. There is not one way to set up an account. What you're doing is setting up a fake crypto, and you lost every dime that you put in there. I'm sorry. I've lost money from different scams in my life too, just like anyone else has done this. We've all been scammed in one way, shape, or form. Understand, you just lost it. The reality is, and I'm just showing you how crazy this is. These are people I'm either following or I've had to block. Here's Dr. Scott. Look at all of these Dr. Scotts that are out there. And they're actually clever because they actually say, different things. Now, I blocked a couple people that were possible with that too. But they have all these different people, and they name them different ways, but they're using my face, using some of my naming. When I looked through them a little closer, I realized that was actually faking me and putting some information. So I have to block these people all the time. Dr. Scott, herbal medicine, doc heals, blah, blah, blah. But when you get into it, it's not me. And so they have different ways of saying it. Sometimes they use it. Look at this. Dr. Sherry Tenpenny, which is another physician, but then she's Dr. Scott. Dr. Scott doing all this other stuff, right? All these people who are faking me. And this is just Twitter. If I showed you all the different ones that are on YouTube or TikTok, every one of them on TikTok, because I got bounced off at TikTok. And this is how much they're spending efforts to fake you. Isn't this crazy? This is a real one here. Dr. Scott Hadlin. Okay, that's one I didn't block. But I have to be through this stuff all the time and find a new person, because I'll go over here to notifications. One of the things I find a lot is that someone will retweet me, which is totally fine. And then every once in a while, I find out someone retweets something I put up there, and it's not it's not me, right? So I know it's not me, and I figure that out with that too. And so I have to go and block those idiots and report them. But see, they're never gone. And these social media companies, every one of them, are all complicit in this, because somehow they're getting a kickback in this way. The QFS crypto stuff is a really sick system. Guys, block and delete all of them. If you want to know something about me, if you want to know who I am or where I am or how to find me, bring me back on the stage here. This is me, drscottyoung.com, the only place you can download some stuff. You can get in and go to my bookstore like this, right? But on the home page, what happens is that you can find something really important. The social media, this is where I tell people all the time. You want to go to me, that's fine. This is YouTube, this is Twitter, this is Telegram. You want to find those, this is the only place you're going to go. So if you're going to click on that, it's going to bring you up to my only page, right? So it's only this particular place to find me. And so it's fascinating that people, I have this one lady that I heard, it's a woman who knows me pretty well. And she tells me that like her sister is talking to me every single day. And I'm like, what? She goes, that's not true, right? I'm like, no, what does she do? Oh, some crypto. And I'm like, that isn't me. These idiots will use a intro statement. I'm not even going to say it out loud because it's not me. Anytime if I've talked to people on the phone that never heard from me before, never talked to me on the phone, and when they start talking to me, they go, yeah, that's Dr. Scott. That's the way he talks, right? And these people fake who I am, and they fake all this other stuff. This is happening to so many truthers, and it's happening to patriots left and right. This is a multi-billion-dollar scam that is going on in front of our eyes. And the FBI, the NSA, the CIA, pick the three-letter agency, is not doing a dang thing about it. And so it is a sickness that we need to kill. I'm doing everything I can to kill this stuff off. But I've never made a dollar from people. And I've told you, if you want to donate, that's fine. But I don't sell anything. And that's the reason why God told me not to sell stuff. Now, I don't care that anyone else does sell something that's a legitimate kind of thing. Someone do gold, or they do some health kind of things, whatever. No judgment there. Not one tiny bit of judgment. But God just told me not to do it. It is what it is. So, people get mad at me all the time because, be careful who you follow. I'm like, well, yeah, be careful who you follow. But that doesn't mean me, because I didn't do anything wrong with that. You need to know the scams. The reality, the QFS will be set up for you. You will then log into the system when the banks will help you with this. When does that happen? After NESARA happens. When does NESARA happen? After the EBS. You're not going to miss it. Don't think you can do anything to prepare for it. There's nothing you have to do. Just be calm. It's all going to be okay. Thanks so much.